So Aston Villa draw 1-1 here in Nottingham against Forest. Relegation threatened Forest. I don't know, maybe a predictable point before kick-off, but Villa should have won this game. 3 points were there for the taking. When the ball rolls to Morgan Rogers, you're thinking, yep, there we go, that's the golden chance Villa needed. Oh, it's skied over the bar. Oh, devastating that didn't go in. And Ollie Watkins had a good opportunity as well, not as good as Rogers' but one that you need him to take. So Villa leave with 1 point, which is no disaster, but where they are in the league now and how many games are remaining, you need to take opportunities when they arrive, because pressure will only mount should Villa then fail to beat Sunderland, should Villa then go to Fulham and not get a result. So it's a frustrating one. However, and I was kind of toying with the idea of not recording this walk and talk until after that Chelsea result against City, because that will probably shake my mood even more if Chelsea fail to win or hopefully lose. Then of course then it's 6 to 7 points the gap, which is a big gap, especially 7 points of course, heading into the final weeks of the campaign. And Chelsea obviously playing Man United next. United are in good nick, or they were at least before the break. They play Leeds, don't they, on Monday. Apologies for the noise. I presume you can hear all those cars whizzing past. It's busy in Nottingham this afternoon after the game. But yeah, two basic kind of fundamental points from the top. It's pretty simple. Villa should have won this match. But then the second part is, okay, and how do you feel about that? And it's twofold. It's obviously frustration because it's not 3 points, it's 1. But then again, in the context of where Villa are in the table, it could have been so much better, and that's the frustration. But at the same time, who knows, maybe they even gain a point on Chelsea. They only need to finish above one of Chelsea or Liverpool, don't they? I know that third place is something that would be an incredible achievement. This campaign should Villa go on to do that, but you know, you've got to look over your shoulder at this point and not really look upwards. You know, the gap is one which for a long time was so big, and then it closed really dramatically, didn't it, when Villa went on a really important form. So they just need to hold on to that. And today felt like a big opportunity to you know, chip away. Villa, 3 wins or so maybe away from the Champions League positions before the game. Should Villa win 3 games from here, they'll all but guarantee, I'm sure. Who knows, maybe even 2 wins from here will see them over the line. But again, this one is, yeah, it's the feeling of 2 points dropped. But I do remember walking past the River Trent last 2 seasons and feeling deflated after defeat, especially the last one that we had here, which was a really late show from Forest. Duran scored, didn't he? And we thought we were going to claim a really big 3 points against the top 4 rival. Didn't happen. And here we are now, drawing to a side who, yeah, are threatened by relegation, but they're scrapping, aren't they, at this point in the campaign? Those teams really do need to pick up points, and I think in the end they settled for 1. We definitely wanted more, and yeah. Anyway, I'll start with Rogers because, of course, he's missed a chance that really I think was probably easier to score than harder to miss. You can't quite put your finger on his season in general, to be honest. I mean, he has come up with some almighty clutch moments for Villa and really carried them through a stretch of the campaign, and during that 11-match winning run in all comps, home and away, and 11-match winning run at home in all comps, he was a key contributor to that. Even more so, away from home. You know, doubles against Leeds, doubles against other sides as well at home, Man United away, West Ham. He has been a tremendous player for Villa this season, but at the moment, like at the start of the season really, things just aren't quite going his way, and fine margins, I guess. And firstly, what I would say is that he's obviously played a key part in the goal today, and there is a stat that Rogers has now failed to score or assist in 7 matches in the league for the first time since joining Villa. But I think that feels a little bit harsh, considering he's essentially done the done the work, or shall I say, the assist really for the goal today. So yeah, while that's true, not factually an assist, still the case, I guess, officially. He's come close to scoring, of course, by hitting the bar. I would say he's come close to scoring again. That almost lets him off the hook. He has to score. I don't think he'll have an easier chance in his career, possibly. I mean, the ball's fallen to him perfectly. All he's got to do is guide it past a body or two. But he's chosen to try and plant it in the top, or almost in the roof of the net, didn't he? Didn't work. And yeah, Villa have still had chances after that, don't get me wrong, but had that gone in, I think Villa would be okay for the game, and maybe even they'd get third. Because they came close, didn't they, to doubling their lead after Murillo scored that own goal. And to be fair, it was Rodgers pinged a beautiful pass into Watkins. Just fit a lovely passage play by Villa. That was, I think it was Barkley to Rodgers first time to Watkins. Sales just about gets a leg on the ball, I think it was, from Watkins' finish, and the flag went up for that. But on replay, I'm sure that was onside. Maybe one that your eyes deceive you with, but just briefly looking to my side, I thought he was on. So on another day, we'd be talking about Rodgers maybe getting a couple of goals and an assist. But where he is at the moment in this portion of the season, it's just not quite going for him. So he needs that to turn, and Villa need that to turn as well. And I think it will. And Emery was asked after the game about his future, because of course there's been lots of stories linking him away from Villa, and that should be no surprise, by the way. This is a tale old as time. A player that does so well for a club that isn't Man United or Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool. Of course they're going to be linked with moves away, and frankly, should a huge offer come in for Rodgers, we know what happens. Some players are deemed irreplaceable, and whether you think that or not, if Villa do, there will still always have to be a chunk of money that Villa cannot turn down for a player. And maybe they'll try and look at other options to raise some money if they need to fund a rebuild or whatever they would like to do this summer, and maybe that involves selling these two players instead of Rodgers. We don't know, but of course there will be interest. That's kind of the key thing to mention. Am I going to get run over here? Let's find out. We're good. That looked far less dramatic than what it felt. But Emery was asked after the game about that growing speculation, and said that he's kind of brushed it aside completely. You'd expect him to. But he said that he's fully focused at Villa, and kind of the best line from his answer, I thought, was he said that Rodgers knows about his progression is here, which is true. He's obviously grown up so much at Villa and under Emery, of course. But yeah, I don't think that interest is getting to his head or anything like that. I think we've seen early in the season he's had a difficult spell. He's in a bit of a difficult run again. But I think sometimes it's the kind of the unforced errors that Rodgers has in his game that they can be so confusing, because he has so much quality. We've seen that for so long. But then that fine order way in the first half there, or spell of the game against Bologna at home early this season, the first European game. It's just moments where a pass won't work, and you're puzzled to how a player with so much quality can't protect the ball better than what he does. And he lost the ball, I think it was twice, when Forest scored that equaliser. And yeah, Villa need to defend moments, but at the same time, those errors are going to cost Villa over the course of the season. So I'm hoping that he can turn that corner like he did, and all will be okay. But it is a concern, and it's, again, today was maybe that was the difference between winning and losing. Yet over the course of the season, you go back to other games. Villa don't beat Leeds without Morgan Rodgers. Villa don't beat United without Morgan Rodgers in other matches as well. So that was, I guess, one of the sort of key talking points from today's game. Maybe Martinez dropping out is another, and he felt pain in his calf in the warm-up and pulled out. So with that, Marco Bizzot was called up about 25 minutes before kick-off, and Emery said afterwards, or was asked afterwards, can you still rely on Emi Martinez? And sort of dodged it, to be honest. He spoke about how the most important thing is how we react to that. So he wasn't getting dragged into talking about Martinez one bit, to be honest, afterwards. So I don't really know how he feels about it. But it's obviously odd. Martinez pulling out of games more than ever in his Villa career this season. So it's a bit confusing whether he has pain in his calf or not. That needs to be sorted out. I mean, he's not getting any younger, Martinez, but at the same time it's not ideal, is it? But he's not, to be fair to him, played well. I thought he made a good save when White couldn't quite get the ball under a spell, but he feels really cool. And then it deflects off Mate Cash, didn't it? Because it makes a good save. So yeah, overall Villa, I think, have played a game where they'd probably win it 8 times out of 10. Unfortunately, they haven't managed to do that today. Sunderland game feels big. That's kind of my, throwing it forward. Goes without saying, really, doesn't it? Let's hope Chelsea don't win today. Even if they do, Villa still need to do a job against Sunderland and hope that Chelsea don't win twice in a row. If they were to today against United, of course, afterwards for them. It's the Notts County ground over there. I'm going the wrong way, but I'm going to wrap up here anyway. So yeah, throwing it forward. Sunderland, huge game in the league, of course. This is after Bologna. Villa have a 2-goal advantage against Bologna. It would be an absolute calamity should Villa not go through to the Europa League semis from here. And by the way, I think over 2 legs they'd do Forest, if I'm being totally honest, especially Forest, who need to stay in the league more than anything else. Porto, different proposition altogether. So we'll see how that game goes. Villa, you hope, can be fine, barring any collapses, as I said. And then it's on to Sunderland at the weekend, and that will be a difficult game, of course. I'm sure that Sunderland have a pretty poor away record, aside from winning at Newcastle. Of course, they've got a great home record. I think they've only lost once, which came against Liverpool late on, Van Dijk, I think. So yeah, no game in this league is easy, but Villa at Villa Park, who knows, maybe with a chance to pull further forward than the teams around them. I believe Chelsea might be playing just some days after against Brighton, following Villa's game against Sunderland, or following Chelsea's game against United, because of course they're in the semis for the FA Cup. We shall see how the coming weeks unfold, but after today, yeah, tinge of disappointment. And really, my overall reflection, it will be more, it will be more informed by whatever Chelsea do today, and it's half time as I talk. So anyway, let's hope they lose. But whatever the result is, okay, Villa focus on themselves, win 3 games, they will be in the Champions League. I'm almost certain of that, and let's try and do that, shall we, before a possible Europa League final, before Liverpool and City at the end of the season as well. So Sunderland, really important game, and 3 points will be the challenge there. And then of course it's no midweek game before Fulham, so big week next week. Days off, not necessarily days off, but no match in midweek next week, and then they can almost take on Fulham, and then possibly a semi-final after that first leg. It's almost like the last portion of this, or maybe let's say like the second, the middle third even. This is going to get really complicated. I view next week as the final part of the first third of the final part of the season. That's a terrible way of looking at it. And then the middle third is your Fulham's, a semi-final possibly, and Tottenham. And then your final part of the season is let's hope for a final Liverpool-Man City. And hopefully the final part of the season is just a final. Do you get it?